Hey, hi everyone. I hope you all are doing good today. A small request before I start this video. If you're watching this video, please watch it in 1.25x of speed because English is not my first language. And in order to avoid any grammatical mistakes, I will be speaking little slow. I'm not going to do any editing, otherwise, I could have increased the speed myself, but I don't have that much of a time. Please bear with me for that. Okay, let's start with the agenda. Today agenda is to calculate the glue cost for one particular job run. What do I mean by that? Let me go to AWS console. I have already logged in into it. I am inside AWS Glue service. Here, if I will click on ETL jobs, then you will find out the number of jobs you have created in that particular region. Currently, I am in North Virginia, as you can see. Let me just click inside one of a job. And here you can see one auto-generated code I have provided here. So this is a bare minimum code I have taken for Spark, where I am creating a Spark context and Glue context, initiating the job and then committing it. That's it. Because this was created just for a demo purpose. Okay, so let's click on this run section. And now you can see over here is you can see the details of uh, previous runs for your glue job. Okay, so I ran it only once. That why you can only see one entry. If I would have ran it for 1000 times, you could have seen 1000 entries over here. So as you can see over here, glue does not provide us a column where we can actually see for a particular job run what is the glue cost has been incurred for us. And here you can click on this preference button to increase or decrease these number of columns to be displayed. Here also you can see that Glue is not providing us any column where we can see the actual glue cost incurred to us. Okay, that's why it become very important for a developer to know how to calculate a glue cost. Okay, so let me go to OneNote and let's start our agenda one by one. So the first thing which I want to discuss is what is the problem with the people who don't consider glue cost while doing a development. So let me take one example. Okay, let's say one person has joined a new team and their team have already created some code, and the thing is they always get very small file to be ingested, let's say 2 MB, 10 MB or 50 MB at max. So because the file size was very small for them, that's why they have taken a bare minimum configuration for their glue job. For example, they have taken G1X worker type and only two worker they have selected, which is a minimum number of worker they should select. Now because you have joined this new client, so you also started copying the same configuration for your job without thinking from pricing perspective or from performance perspective or from the glue job runtime perspective that how much time your job gonna take. And you are quite comfortable with it because you were also receiving smaller size of file. But let's take an example. After 6 months, you started getting files in GBs. Okay, 2 GB, 4 GB, 5 GB. And you are still taking the same configuration because you have an habit of not making any change in this configuration. Now you can surely see that your glue job has started taking more time. And because it is taking more time, it will incur you more cost as well. So that's why you can see over here that this person has avoided knowing what was the glue cost for his job, and he was blindly copying the configuration which was given by the previous team members. And you can see the impact in the future for a job which is going to ingest a file which is higher in size, right? So, and ultimately what will happen is your glue cost will increase on monthly basis, and one senior person will come back and they will do the investigation. They will go to the billing section and then they will see, hey, glue is costing us a lot. Why it is costing us a lot? And then they will do a investigation on it, and then they will find out that okay, for the bigger files also you are choosing the same configuration, and due to that your job is getting completed in 1 hour. You could have changed the configuration so that the job should have got completed in 20 minutes or 15 minutes. And whatever it is. So that could have impacted your glue cost, right? So this is just a story I have given to you, just to give you an idea that being a developer, we should know how much cost it is incurring for me when I'm running a glue job. Okay. By the way, little out of topic. If you want to see your billing, right? So you have to go to your billing and cost management. So let me just go and click over here. My right click is not working. Okay, it's working. So here, if I'll go now, here you go to this bill section. Okay, and here you can see that there would be one period cycle. Just let me minimize this window. Here you can see the billing period. On monthly basis, you can see how much cost AWS is AWS services is incurring for you. Okay. For example, I started using this on 2022. Let me go to this November section. And obviously, I was using a free tier, so that's why it had not incurred any cost to me. I wanted to give you one example, so let me select this December 2022. Here also zero cost. Okay, anyways, so how it will look like to you is if you will see here that it is giving you the amount it got incurred for you that particular month. You will come down and here you will see the segregation. Okay, for example, here you can see a glue service, and here it will show you the pricing region wise. Okay, so let's say you have created some glue jobs in Mumbai, some glue jobs in North Virginia. According to the region, it will show you the pricing over here, but it will show you the pricing for cumulative job runs, right? It will not show you the pricing for each and every job run or each and every job also. If you have hundreds of jobs, it will just calculate the price for all the hundred of jobs, and it will uh, collectively show you the price over here. You cannot see the price on job basis or on run basis. So that's why it become quite important for us to know how to calculate this glue cost. Let me go to the OneNote again. And let's talk about what is this DPU, because if you want to calculate the glue cost, then you have to know what is this DPU. You might have heard this term a lot, and you might be working on glue from last couple of years, but still you are not aware of it because you are blindly copying the configuration. G1X worker and two number of worker you might be taking for all the jobs. But in interview, interviewer can ask you what is this DPU, how do you select it, and how does it impact your glue job. So that's why it become very important for us to know what is this DPU, right? So let me just go to one of our AWS documentation. This is a uh, documentation provided by AWS itself. Here you can see the definition of a DPU, what it is saying. The full form is data processing unit. And the definition it is saying is DPU is a relative measure of processing power that consists of four virtual CPU it will give you, and 16 GB of memory. Okay, that means if I say I'm using one DPU, so that means I have a power of 4 CPU and I have a RAM of 16 GB. Now, if I'll take another example, I'm using two DPUs. That means I will have 4 multiplied to 8 CPUs, 16 multiplied to 32 GB RAM I have available. So this is nothing but a unit, and it will help you to calculate the glue cost. How it will help you? We will talk about it later. But for now, you have to know that this is the definition of a DPU. Whenever some person will ask you what is DPU, just tell them this is the full form is data processing unit, and this is a unit which will be used for calculating the glue cost. And what is the configuration of one DPU? Configuration is 4 CPU and 16 GB of your RAM. Okay, so let me again go back to the, sorry, bear with me, please. So I'm talking about now we will talk about worker and DPU mappings. So here, as you already know, you might already know about it. Whenever you create a Spark job, you will have four different kind of a worker types available for you while creating a Spark job. You have to click on this job detail section, and here you will see this worker type. Here you can see four multiple type of worker available to you: G1X, G2X, G4X, and G8X. So here in the drop down, they are giving you the details, how many cores and RAM will be available. But how they have calculated this core and RAM, we will now discuss that very quickly. Let me go to another AWS documentation, and here you can see this mapping. Okay, whatever I have mentioned over here, worker and DPU mapping. So you should know that whichever worker type I am using, how many workers I have selected for that particular type. if I have selected one worker, then how many DPUs I will get. This kind of a mapping we are going to discuss about it. Okay. So here you can see in this table, let me go a little slow. I know I'm going fast now. Okay, I'll go a little slow. So let's discuss these entries one by one. If you have selected G1X worker and you have selected, so for G1X worker, for one particular worker, if you are going to get one DPU, okay, this is how it will map like this. For G1X, if you have decided to take one worker, that means you're gonna utilize one DPU. Okay. Now again, let's take an example of G2X. If you have taken one worker for G2X, that means you are going to get two DPUs. Okay. So here one worker is mapped to two DPUs. For G4X, one worker is mapped to four DPU. G8X, one worker is mapped to eight DPU. You need not to remember it basically because here you can see the number here itself 1x, 2x, 4x, and 8x, right? Just remember this 1x, 2x, 4x, 8x, and you will get the mapping by yourself, right? 1x, 1 DPU, 2x, 2 DPU, 4x, 4 DPU, 8x, 8 DPU. Okay, I know this is little confusing, but you need to understand it that while creating a glue job, you have to select two configurations. Let me just show you again. I'm inside job details section. And whenever we say you need to select configuration, that means you have to select worker type first. G1X, G2X, G3X, G4X, G8X. You have four choices with you. You can select one of them. After that, the second configuration which you need to select is requested number of workers, right? Now, depending on these two, your DPUs will be calculated. And I have already told you the mapping, okay? Now let's take some example to understand it more clearly. For example, for G1X, you have taken four worker. Okay. Now you have to keep this thing in your mind. One worker maps to one DPU. Similarly, four worker for G1X will map to four multiply one, four DPUs. So G1X is relatively very simple in comparison to others. For others, you have to do some mathematical calculation. Again, second example, same configuration we will take, but this time we will change the worker type. So worker type is G2X. I'm again taking four worker, but we know that each and every worker in G2X is mapped to two DPUs. So you have to multiply four with two and you will get the number of DPUs for your job. So for this configuration G2X4 worker, we are going to utilize 8 DPUs. Similarly for G4X, 4 worker we are taking, and we know that for G4X, the number of DPUs mapped are 4. So you have to multiply 4, 16. And similarly for G8X, every worker will be mapped to 8 DPUs. So you will get 4 multiply 8 equal to 32 DPUs. I hope this is clear to you. If not, then please rewind the video and get it cleared. Because if you don't know how to calculate this, you will not be able to calculate the glue cost pricing. Okay. Now let's see this in real action. I have given a hint to myself that I need to show it to you so that practically when you see you become more confident, right? So for example, let me show you one thing. Currently my configuration is G1X and I have selected the number of workers to 2. So for G1X, the calculation is quite simple, right? You just, whatever workers you have taken, that many DPUs you will get. Okay, so I can just go to run section and here in the detail section, you can see that you have got two DPUs in reality. Okay, actually. So now let's make some change and see how this DPU will differ. What I'm going to do is G1X I'll take and instead of G1X I'll take G2X and number of worker I'll keep two only. Okay. And now my expectation is because one worker of G2X is mapped to two DPUs. That's why 2 multiply 2, you're going to get 4 DPUs. Let me save my job first and then run it. Okay, already saved. Now I'm running it. I need not to wait. I can directly go to runs. And here you got it, right? So you have selected G2X and number of worker was 2. One worker was mapped to 2 DPUs. So 2 multiplied 2, 4 DPUs. So in totality, you got 4 DPUs. Okay. Now I believe this would be very clear to you how to calculate how many number of DPUs you are using for your job. Even if you don't know this, you already know where you can get this information. You select the configuration, whatever you have, whatever you want, and then you just run your job, and here you will get the number of DPUs you are using for your job. Okay. All right. Now let's again go back to the agenda section. Okay. So now what is the glue cost pricing? So glue cost pricing, you can see here in AWS section, AWS document, AWS glue pricing. I believe it should be there. So here is the page provided by AWS, which will tell us the glue pricing. Okay. If you come down, here you can see that the glue pricing is listed region wise. In drop down box, you can select the region in which you are working, and accordingly you can see the pricing. Pricing will remain same for most of the region. There would be a little difference between the region wise. So we will take an example of North Virginia for this video. Here you can read that the pricing for glue job is $0.44 per DPU hour. That means if you have used your DPU for 1 hour for one single DPU, you are going to incur a cost of $0.44 for your Apache Spark job. We are only discussing about Apache Spark. We will not discuss about Python Shell or Ray job or some other jobs. We will only keep our focus on Spark, Apache Spark job. Okay. So here you can also see one more entry, $0.29 per DPU hour for Apache Spark job. But the difference is the $0.29 is for flexible execution. Okay. What is flexible execution? Let me again tell you, I have already discussed it in the last video, but let me go to the one of a job, and then you go to job details section. If you come down, here you can see one option of enabling flex execution. When you enable this flex execution, the glue will run your job on spare capacity available. So spare capacity means the capacity which is idle, which is not in currently in use, and AWS is not earning any money out of it. So they will decide, okay, I'm anyway not earning any money with these machines. They are anyways free. You use them, but I'm going to it will going to cost you little lesser than a standard a glue job run. Okay. So in Flax execution, it might be possible that your job will not immediately start, right? So in run, you will definitely see that your job is running, but it will be possible that Glue will not provide you the resources immediately. It will provide you the resources as and when it is available for Glue. And that's why you may find a little difference between flexible execution and non-flexible execution. When you do not select your flexible execution option, we call it a standard execution. Otherwise, we call it flex execution. Okay. I'll just call it flex and non-flex just for simplicity. So in flexible executions are basically good for non-urgent workload, meaning you are not really bothered about your glue job runtime, whether it is taking 30 minutes or 40 minutes, or maybe you do not need any data very urgently. It's okay for you if you will get it after 1 hour or 2 hour. And so in such cases, basically, you are going to use flexible execution. Most of the time, you can use it for dev and testing environment. But if this case particularly suits you, you can also keep it for production. And that is not a problem. Okay, so now let's come back to the agenda again. Let's go back to the pricing details. So now we know that if you have a flexible execution enabled, you are going to incur a cost of $0.29. Otherwise, for standard or non-flexible execution, you are going to incur a cost of $0.44. Now, one more very important thing here is billing will be done per second with 1 minute minimum, right? So 1 minute minimum means that even though if your job has ran for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or 59 seconds, you are going to incur a cost of 1 minute at least. So at least you have to give a cost of 1 minute. Okay. It's not like that, okay, if your job ran only for 10 seconds and now you will only pay for 10 seconds. No, you are going to pay for completely 1 minute. Okay, now let me again go back to OneNote. And now we are going to discuss about the pricing details. Okay. So before this, I have a very good example in my mind. So I know that this video is becoming little longer, but I wanted to discuss that example with you. so that things will become clear to you. So let me just show you one example. Okay, so let's say some home construction is going on, and for that home construction, the owner has hired four different trucks. Okay, so he has hired four trucks. I'll call them T1, T2, T3, and T4. Now let's imagine that your work is supposed to get completed in 2 hours, or let's say in reality it got completed in 2 hours. Okay, and in those 2 hours, these trucks T1, T2, T3, and T4 they were working continuously. That means this truck worked for 2 hours, this one worked for 2 hours, this one worked for 2 hours, and this one worked for 2 hours. Okay. So now you will add them. So that means in totality, you have utilized 8 hours of time of these trucks, right? You have utilized 8 hours of their time. Now, if I am the owner of my of these trucks, and I will say that, okay, for each and every truck, 1 hour timing, I will cost you $5. Okay. Now you already know that even though you have utilized four truck and even though the duration was two, but ultimately you have utilized 8 hours of the resources. That means if you need to calculate the cost, it will come 8 × 5, that will be $40. The same concept we are going to utilize when we are going to calculate the cost for glue. Okay, so now let's discuss with the glue formula for pricing, and it will take another 5 to 7 minutes. So please bear with me. This is the most important thing. I have taken a lot of time, I know, but before discussing this formula, we had to know a lot of things. There were a lot of prerequisites, and that's why this video has taken a lot of time. So please bear with me, okay? Okay, and meanwhile, I had to disconnect and again recording this video, so I'm going to merge two different videos also. Earlier I was thinking I will not do the editing, but I will have to do the editing now. Okay, so okay, so let's discuss about the glue cost pricing now. Okay, um where it is, yeah, here it is. Okay, so what is the formula? So first of all, the formula is so let's say you have taken G1X configuration for your job, and for that you have decided to take three workers. Okay, now the formula would become is number of workers you need to multiply the mapping unit for that worker type. Okay, so mapping unit means I'm talking about this unit, that for G1X, one worker will map to one DPU, G2X, one worker will map to two DPUs, then four DPUs, and eight DPU, respectively. Okay, so you need to multiply that unit. After that, you need to multiply the glue job duration in hour, because our pricing unit is also in hour, $0.29 or 0.44 per DPU hour. So you need to convert your job duration in hour, and then finally you need to multiply your DPU hour rate, whatever it is. For flexible, it is 0.29. For standard and non-flexible or non-flexible, it is 0.44. So for our example, we will take a non-flexible job or standard job. So that's why our rate will be 0.44. So what do we do is I have taken three examples so that the things will become more clear to you. Let's discuss first example. I have taken a configuration of G1X and three worker, and my total job run time was 8 minutes. So what we need to do is you need to multiply number of worker with the mapping unit. So for G1X, the mapping unit is one. Okay, so this mapping unit is one. Then after that, I am converting my 8 minute into hour. That's why I'm dividing it by 60. And after that, you need to multiply it by the DPU hour rate. Okay, so what we have done is, first of all, we have calculated how many how many DPUs I had in totality. So that we have calculated inside this bracket, 3 multiply 1. I had 3 DPUs. Now what we have done is, after that we are multiplying the duration with these DPUs. That means, let's take an example of truck. You had three trucks and you have utilized it individually for 8 minutes. So if you have to find the collective time, you need to multiply it, right, with the number of workers you had. And that's why I'm multiplying that duration. The same calculation which we have done previously. You can just rewind if you forget. Okay. So once we have that duration, now we have a duration in hourly terms, and we already know the unit. Unit is $0.44 per hour. That's why we are just now multiplying the DPU hour rate. and it will come around $0.176. Okay, so this is my glue cost run, glue cost price for a particular glue job run. Let's take another example of G2X configuration. You have taken two worker and your job ran for 5 minutes. Okay. Now again, the same formula. Number of worker is two in this case. Mapping unit, because this is G2X. You need to remember this 2x. That means you need to multiply your worker with two times. So after that, I'm just converting my 5 minutes to hour, 5 divided by 60, and then multiplying it with 0.44. It will come around $0.14. Again, the last example, I have not taken G4X because you already know how to do the calculation. Just wanted to take this last G8X calculation. We have selected G8X and configuration worker type, and we have taken 5 workers, and the job is getting completed in 7 minutes. Again, the same formula. Number of worker is 5, and we know that's 8x, right? We need to multiply it with 8. So our mapping unit is 8, converting our 7 minutes to hour, and then multiplying it with the hourly rate, and it will come back to almost $2. Okay. Now you can also take the same example, but this time you can consider it for flexible execution. In that case, instead of multiplying your job duration with 0.44, you have to multiply it with 0.29 seconds. Sorry, $0.29. Okay. And accordingly, you can see the differences. And you can also select that for one particular production job, whether you want to make it flexible or non-flexible job. Okay, that's it for this video, guys. Sorry for making it too long for you, but if you have seen it till this point and if you have learned something new, then please like this video and keep learning. Happy learning. Take care of yourself and your family. Thank you. Bye bye.